Hail YouTube, Dominions, Doomentites, and Arch-Villains! Thank you all for supporting me in my effort to save pop culture. And I would ask you please make sure you are still subbed, turn on your notification bell, and if you are not subscribed, please consider doing so. This channel could use your support. Thank you, and enjoy this video. Dave Filoni is often regarded as one of the saviors of Star Wars. A true fan who respects George Lucas's vision and strives, along with Jon Favreau, to once again tell stories that feel authentically like Star Wars. We have always regarded Filoni as being on our side. Someone who wouldn't endorse Kathleen Kennedy's divisive rhetoric and doesn't feel that the Force is female, that Star Wars should be turned from a rollicking space epic into a tool to put down the patriarchy. Dave Filoni, we have always believed, is one of the good guys. What I'm about to play for you leads me to question those ideas. What you're about to hear is Dave Filoni bending the knee to Kathleen Kennedy's feminist agenda, dismissing our concerns regarding the direction the Star Wars franchise is going, with a sneering sarcasm that is calculated to be a crowd pleaser at a National Center for Women Information Technology conference. What you're about to hear are excerpts from Filoni's address to the conference, as he mocks the very Star Wars fans who have admired him and placed their hopes in him. He misrepresents our objections to Kennedy's feminist agenda, simplifying them and distilling them down to strawman arguments that he proceeds to demolish with a twinkle in his eye, pandering his cowboy hat off as he sucks in the laughter and approval of the audience. Is this the guy you think is on our side? Is this one of the saviors of Star Wars? Judge for yourself as you listen to his words.
Even ever have in canon the idea that he had an apprentice, let alone that it would be a girl. I didn't care. I thought that was a great idea because I didn't want to just make Luke Skywalker again. I wanted a character that had different challenges and could have a different story than Luke. But, you know, and for George it wasn't. I mean, obviously it was an idea. For fans, this was a very different idea. The general public as a whole are going to look at that and say, why? And we just created this character. And there was this funny assumption by a lot of people, because the older fans are complaining, why is this? You're making it for kids. That's the funniest thing anybody ever says to me. You're making Star Wars for kids. I'm like, yeah. Okay. How old were you when you saw Star Wars? And they're, oh, the first time I saw Star Wars, I was 7 years old, and my dad took me, and I'm like, uh-huh. And you want to rob this experience from kids today, why? And make it all dark and sinister and evil? Okay, anyway.
And so Dave Filoni assumes the SJW mantle here and proceeds to mock lifelong Star Wars fans unhappy with Kennedy's agenda. Here is the hero of the Clone Wars, spewing up the same mockery and contempt that Kathleen Kennedy has been spewing all these years, like a baby bird in a cowboy hat. To be sure, it gets big laughs at a women's conference to mock old Star Wars fans who saw Star Wars as kids, and laying down that same old trope that Star Wars was a kid's movie, and that somehow we fans are idiots and worthy of being mocked because we want Star Wars to be dark? How many of us were celebrating how dark The Last Jedi was? We want Star Wars to be dark? That we're trying to ruin Star Wars for kids somehow by insisting it be dark, and our disappointment over Star Wars is because we don't get it anymore, because we're no longer kids? Filoni is either genuinely revealing himself to be a buffoon here, or is simply pandering for laughs at a women's conference. But either way, it's pathetic. Star Wars is not and never was a kid's movie. It may have been intended to be a kid's movie, but no kid's movie ever becomes the #1 movie of all time, as it was shortly after it premiered. Star Wars appealed to everyone. Star Wars was for everyone, every age, male and female. It was for kids and for adults who wanted to remember what it felt like to dream like a kid. It was joyous, riotous. It was unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. And for Filoni to mock that experience and mock all of us on this basis is outrageous. It betrays a misunderstanding of what Star Wars was and shows that Filoni is much more on Kennedy's page than we thought. Remember when Kathleen mocked 50-something fans? Is what Filoni's doing here all that different? Let's hear a little more of what he had to say.
There's this assumption that young girls are going to like the character of Ahsoka. We relate that, right? Apples to apples. Of course, we make a young girl character, so all the young girls will like Ahsoka. It's almost to say, like, but what about the boys? You know, this absurd notion. So what we found was this amazing thing. It will shock none of you. That when you create a strong, independent, intelligent character that shows no fear, that can do amazing things, boys and girls like her.
Actually, Dave. Can I call you Dave? Dave, that's not a surprise to anyone, you schmuck. That's what I and others in the Fandom Menace have been crying out for. Well-written characters, well-developed, strong or weak, male or female, it doesn't matter. And when you try to smear critics of Disney Star Wars with that argument, it just makes you look pathetic and pandering. It's no surprise that everyone loves Ahsoka, because everyone loves Sarah Connor, and Ellen Ripley, and Marion Ravenwood too, Hop-Along Acidity. This is an obnoxiously smug and smarmy little rant designed to gain Filoni laughs and applause at a women's conference at our expense, misrepresenting the very fans that have supported him, reading from a script that could have come straight off the desk of Kathleen Kennedy. Well, let's hear some more, shall we?
This is what we tried to do with the Star Wars saga now. We've tried to create more female characters who can represent so many things, because what we're trying to do isn't just create one type of character. We're trying to create a diverse range of characters, especially female characters that are strong, that are independent. When you look at Rey, in The Force Awakens, she's a female lead in a whole new chapter of the Star Wars saga. We haven't done a movie for 10 years, and here comes a Star Wars film, and here comes Rey. And what is it? Is it Panic in the Streets? Oh my gosh, a female lead in a Star Wars movie. And then the trailer for Rogue One comes out, and it's another female lead. Oh my gosh, how unfair.
Yeah. Don't you just love the whining smarm in his voice when he says that? Do you like the now familiar feeling of yet another Star Wars creative pissing in the faces of original Star Wars fans? All hail Dave Filoni, acolyte and messenger of Kathleen Kennedy. Still looking to him for salvation? Once again, old Dave throws up yet another lame argument, misrepresenting hundreds of hours of YouTube criticism and scholarship, analyzing the almost countless things wrong with Rey and The Force Awakens. Dave, do you really think we'd be this disgusted if Rey had been a strong character? The fact that she's a damn Mary Sue with the world handed to her because she has the right genitalia is a massive problem narratively. We don't buy Rey, Dave. She's a phony. Stolen glory, a cardboard cutout of a hero that never thrills, never surprises, never intrigues, just a hollow shout out of "You Go Girl" in place of a character. That's the problem, Dave. That's the problem. But please, continue digging yourself into that ditch.
We've had probably like 2 million straight film cinematic roles where men have been leads, and now we've done 2 in a row that are women. Well, too bad. Oh well.
Yeah, too bad. Maybe there are more coming, yeah. And too bad, Dave, maybe we're not going to pay to see that trash anymore. And maybe, Dave, we're starting to figure out from your own sneering, smarmy words that far from being a solution, you're part of the problem, Dave. You're sacrificing agenda for narrative now. You're on Kennedy's side, Dave. Who knew? Smearing us, simplifying us, throwing fans under the bus to get cheap laughs at a women's conference. The real Dave Filoni, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what else he has to say.
You know, Rey, she impresses Han Solo. He's like the guy's guy, impresses him, impresses everybody in the audience. She goes up with Kylo Ren, she punks him right away. Like he's supposed to be this great guy, wiped out all these people. I don't know. She took that lightsaber and was like, I'm gonna take you out. And she did, and I'm all for it. And she looks strong. It's not that she doesn't show any fear. She looks like this is an intense moment in her life, and we're there with her because of that, because she's a real feeling dimensional person. That's what we want, a real feeling dimensional person.
Rey is a real feeling dimensional person? Oh, Filoni actively endorses one of the worst Mary Sue moments from The Force Awakens, where someone who has never held a lightsaber before and only heard about the Force a day or so ago defeats a trained dark side Force user in a lightsaber fight. Is this real? Is this a fully dimensional person, Dave? Are you out of your mind? It's like Kathleen Kennedy told Dave Filoni it rubs the lotion on its skin, then took old Dave out, made a Filoni skin suit, stole his beard and cowboy hat, and made a speech to a bunch of women who may or may not even know what Star Wars is. That seems to be the audience Disney is going for these days. Non-Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans are no longer welcome at Disney. They aren't making it for you, as Filoni clearly states here.
We are trying to create an environment where it's my hope that kind of just like Luke, all he did was open that door, right? He just opened that door, let Leia out, and she went gangbusters. So,
sure, Dave, you piece of garbage. That's all Luke did. All Luke did was open a door and let Leia out. Here you have it straight from Filoni's mouth. All Luke did was open that door and let Leia out, and she's been going gangbusters ever since. So all of you who thought the heart of the rod at Lucasfilm was Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson and their minions, looks like we have to add Dave Filoni to that mix. And so now all we have is Favreau and the Mandalorian. I wonder how long before we hear him sell us out too. And I would like to thank Itchy Bacca of Disney Star Wars is Dumb for calling my attention to this egregious development. Hail Itchy Bacca, you do great work, my friend, and I'm grateful to you, sir. Thank you for so well serving the fandom menace. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.